Figure it out yourself. That's what my wife Stephanie shouted as she slammed the gas pedal, leaving me stranded in the middle of a gas station parking lot in Billings, Montana, 200 miles from our home in Denver. Her sisters, Jessica and Vanessa, were in the back seat laughing like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. The engine roared, the tires spun, and in seconds they were gone, and I was just standing there. My name is John. I'm 34 years old. I work construction for North Peak Engineering, and I'd been married to Stephanie for 8 years. We were supposed to be on a weekend getaway driving up to Montana for her cousin's wedding. Just the four of us in her sedan, sharing gas money and hotel rooms. Simple plan. But from the minute we hit the road, something felt off. Stephanie kept looking in the rearview mirror, exchanging silent glances with her sisters. There were little whispers, soft laughter behind cupped hands. Every time I asked what was going on, Stephanie would flash that smile and say, "Nothing, babe. Just sister stuff." I should have listened to my gut. We stopped for gas about an hour outside Billings. I went inside to grab a coffee and use the restroom. When I came back out, they were already in the car engine running. Stephanie rolled down the window, smiling strangely. "Get in the car, Steph," I said, heading for the passenger door. "Actually," she said, "we've been talking, and we think you need to learn some independence." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" Jessica leaned up from the back seat, smiling like this was normal. "You're always so clingy, John, like a little lost puppy always following Stephanie around." Then Vanessa chimed in. "We figured this might be good for you. A little adventure." I stood there, keys in hand, except they weren't the car keys. They were the house keys. My truck was still parked in our driveway, back in Denver. "This isn't funny," I said, my voice low, almost shaking. "Whatever this is, stop it." Stephanie's smile only grew wider. "It's not a joke. It's a prank. You're always so serious, John. Learn to laugh a little." Then she yelled it, "Figure it out yourself," and hit the gas. I stood frozen. Watched the red taillights vanish into the Montana dusk. No car. No way home. No one on my side. Just me. My wallet. My phone. In a sudden crushing realization, my wife and her sisters had just abandoned me on purpose in the middle of nowhere. The October wind sliced through my jacket, sharp and cold, carrying the scent of coming snow. I pulled out my phone and called Stephanie. Straight to voicemail. Called Jessica. Nothing. Vanessa. She had blocked me months ago over an argument I can't even remember. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some prank that would end in an hour with an apology and a laugh. This was something else. Something cruel. Something calculated. Something that showed me without a shadow of doubt exactly what my wife and her sisters thought of me. I walked back into the gas station. Asked the clerk how much a bus ticket to Denver would cost. "No buses run through here," he said, barely looking up. "Closest station is in Billings. 40 miles east. 40 miles. No car, no ride, no help." And for the first time in my life, I realized I wasn't just stranded on the side of a highway. I was completely painfully alone. Stephanie and I met 9 years ago on a job site. She was doing environmental consulting for a commercial development my crew was working on. Smart, funny. The kind of woman who made you feel like the only person in the room when she spoke to you. Her sisters? Not so much. Jessica was 2 years older, worked in marketing, had an opinion about everything, and wasn't shy about letting you know it. Vanessa was the youngest, 28, still figuring out what she wanted in life, but always quick with an eye roll or a sarcastic jab. From the very beginning, I knew they didn't like me. They never said it directly. They didn't have to. There were the family dinners where they'd make inside jokes I didn't get, then glance at each other and laugh. Vacations where they'd plan events without even asking if I wanted to come. Little things, small things, but they stacked up like bricks in a wall. Don't take it personally, Stephanie would say. They're just protective. They'll warm up to you. But they didn't. If anything, they got worse after we got married. Jessica started dropping comments about how Stephanie used to be more adventurous before I tied her down. Vanessa. She'd make fun of me every time I tried to help, whether it was fixing her tire or hanging shelves in her apartment. Not everything needs a man to fix it. She'd snap like I was trying to take over her independence. I started noticing other things too. Stephanie constantly texting always with her sisters, even when we were supposed to be spending time together. She'd cancel plans last minute because Jessica had a crisis or Vanessa needed something urgent. Last year, she missed our anniversary dinner because Vanessa was moving. Year before that, she skipped my birthday to console Jessica after a breakup. Every time I said something, she'd shut me down. Family comes first. And I agreed. I really did. But I was supposed to be family too. I thought back to the ride to Montana, how they insisted we all go in one car instead of taking my truck. How Stephanie had booked the hotel room under her name only. How Jessica kept teasing me for being boring, and Vanessa asked, "Remember when you used to be fun?" I'd laughed it off. But it stung. I worked 60-hour weeks so we could live comfortably. I fixed the broken things around the house, planned our vacations, remembered the dates she forgot. I thought that's what love was. That's what being a good husband meant. But standing in that gas station parking lot, the wind biting my skin, and the sky dimming over the hills of Montana, I finally saw it. I hadn't been a husband. I'd been an obligation, a running joke, a man they tolerated only when it served them. The clerk let me borrow the station's landline. I called a cab company in Billings. $60. I didn't have it. Didn't matter. I needed to get moving. I rode in silence, staring out the taxi window as we cut across open plains. The air outside was cold and dry. Inside, it was quiet enough to hear myself think. Think about Stephanie, about how blind I'd been, about the woman I thought I knew. The Greyhound to Denver took 14 hours. 14 hours in a stiff seat with no sleep and nothing but my thoughts. I kept waiting for my phone to light up. An apology, a panicked voicemail, something, but it never came. Around midnight, somewhere near Casper, Wyoming, it hit me. This wasn't about teaching me independence. This wasn't about some sisterly joke to lighten me up. This was humiliation. This was control. This was about reminding me of my place. I thought about all the times I'd gone along with their plans, let them walk all over me. All the birthdays and anniversaries that came second to whatever drama Jessica or Vanessa had going on. I remembered the looks they gave me behind my back, the way Stephanie always defended them. Always. By the time the bus pulled into Denver at 8:00 a.m., my mind was made up. I wasn't going to wait for them to come home. I wasn't going to pretend everything was fine. I took a cab to our house. The driveway was empty. Inside quiet. Exactly the way we'd left it. I sat at the kitchen table. And for the first time in 8 years, I started going through her things. Not out of jealousy. Not out of revenge. I needed to understand. Who had I been married to? Her laptop was locked, but she'd never been good about closing her tabs. And what I found shattered everything. Stephanie's laptop was password protected, but she had always been careless about one thing: closing her browser tabs. And there it was, still open, still logged in. A group chat between her and her sisters. Messages that went back months. At first, I thought maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe I'd misread the tone. Maybe they were venting, being catty. But as I kept reading, the truth became undeniable. Screenshots of text conversations, our conversations that Stephanie had sent them. My messages twisted out of context. Their replies littered with laughing emojis. Photos of me asleep on the couch. Captions like "dead to the world as usual." Zero awareness, lol. But the worst was the thread about the Montana trip. Jessica had started it. We should totally ditch him somewhere and see how long it takes him to figure out how to get home. Vanessa, OMG. Yes. He's so dependent on Steph for everything. Stephanie, you guys are terrible. But also, it would be hilarious. They had planned every single detail. The gas station, the speech about independence, even a backup plan in case I somehow beat them home. If he gets back early, he'll probably just call his mom or something. Jessica had replied, "Big baby." I remember reading that last line and going absolutely still. Not angry, not even hurt, just hollow. 8 years of marriage, and this was how she spoke about me. How they all spoke about me. I wasn't a partner. I was a joke. An accessory they could discard when the punchline got old. I closed the laptop. Sat there for a long time. The sun had fully risen now, painting the kitchen in that pale Denver light, but everything around me felt dark. Then I stood up, walked upstairs, packed a single bag. No note, no explanations. I didn't even bother locking the door. I walked out the same way they'd driven off. But unlike them, I wasn't coming back. I drove my truck to Colorado Springs, to my brother Kevin's apartment. He worked night shifts at a manufacturing plant and always kept a spare room for just in case. When I showed up with a duffel bag and no explanation, he opened the door, handed me a beer, and said, "How long you staying?" I shrugged. "Don't know yet." Kevin never liked Stephanie, never said it directly, but you could see it in the way he went quiet when she was around. How he always had an excuse to leave early at family gatherings. That night, I told him everything. The gas station, the group chats, the betrayal that had been unfolding right under my nose for months. When I finished, he shook his head. "Jesus, John, you're better off without her." And for the first time since Montana, I believed it. Monday morning, I called my supervisor at North Peak and asked for a transfer. There was a hospital renovation project in Colorado Springs. They'd been short-handed for months. He didn't ask questions, just told me I could start Wednesday. Tuesday afternoon, the phone started ringing. Stephanie, her number. I let it go to voicemail. "John, where are you? I came home and you're just gone. That's not like you. Call me. We need to talk." No apology. No recognition of what she'd done. Just confusion, like I was the one who had crossed a line. I blocked her number. An hour later, Jessica called. Blocked. Then Vanessa. But they were clever. They started calling from different numbers. Stephanie's work phone. Unknown numbers. All with the same message: "You're overreacting." It was just a joke. We need to talk this out like adults. Like adults. You abandoned me 200 miles from home as part of a game, and now you want to talk. On Thursday, Kevin came home from work with a strange look on his face. Your wife's here, he said. She's sitting outside in her car. I looked out the window. Sure enough, Stephanie's sedan, parked across the street, engine idling. I didn't wait. I met her in the lobby before she could knock. John, she said, reaching for me, thank God. I've been so worried. I took a step back. What do you want, Stephanie? I want you to come home, she said. I want us to talk about this like adults. Talk about what? That you abandoned me in the middle of nowhere. That you and your sisters planned it for months. Her expression faltered for just a second. The sweet, concerned wife mask slipped, and behind it, I saw something else, irritation. Like I was the one being unreasonable. It was a prank, John. You're acting like we committed a crime. You left me stranded. You laughed about it. You planned it. She crossed her arms. Because you needed it. You're so dependent, so clingy. We thought if you had to figure something out for yourself, maybe you'd grow up a little. There it was. The real reason. Not fun. Not spontaneity. Control. The lobby was dead silent except for the humming of fluorescent lights above us. I looked at her, this woman I'd shared a home, a bed of life with for 8 years, and finally said the words I'd been holding back. I'm not coming home. She blinked as if she hadn't even considered that as a possibility. Don't be ridiculous. You can't just walk away because your feelings got hurt. Watch me. I turned, walked toward the elevator. She followed, talking faster now, pleading, bargaining, blaming. But I wasn't listening anymore. When the elevator doors closed, she was still talking. Next morning, Sanghom Somot Tinhan Tuso Lajen. This is Jessica. Stephanie's really upset. You need to fix this. I showed it to Kevin. Change your number, he said. So I did. 3 weeks later, my life had completely changed. Work during the day, helping Kevin with his truck on weekends, learning how to make decisions without checking in with anyone else. I found a small apartment on the south side of Colorado Springs. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. No arguing about furniture. No compromises on dinner. No silent treatment over what to watch on TV. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again. And then, my phone rang. It was Mom. It had been 3 peaceful weeks since I changed my number. 3 weeks of silence, of focus, of finally breathing again. And then my phone rang. A number I hadn't saved in years. Mom. I hesitated, then picked up. John, honey, she said gently. Stephanie came by the house. I closed my eyes. Of course she did. I've been trying to reach you, Mom continued. She said you're having some kind of breakdown, that you disappeared after a family trip and won't answer her calls. Her voice was full of concern. My mom had always liked Stephanie, thought she was grounded, loyal, the type of woman who kept a man focused. It's not a breakdown, Mom. We're having problems. What kind of problems can't be worked out? I didn't want to go into it. Didn't want to explain screenshots, group chats, laughter at my expense. Didn't want to sound petty, like I was just mad about a joke. I'll call you later, I said. I need to think about some things. But when I hung up, the realization hit me hard Stephanie was still playing the game, still trying to control the narrative, still trying to make me look like the unstable one. So that weekend, I drove back to Denver. Not to the house, to my buddy Marcus's place. Marcus had worked construction with me, had been at my wedding. I heard you and Steph split, he said, when I showed up. Sorry, man. What did she say happened? He shrugged. Just that you left after a fight. She looked pretty torn up. There it was again. Stephanie's version. where I was the villain, where she was the victim. I sat on his back porch and told him the real story, the prank, the planning, the betrayal. When I finished, Marcus shook his head. Man, why would she do that? I took a breath. I think she wanted to hurt me. Not forever. Not to lose me. Just enough to show me how little I mattered. He nodded slowly. Then he said something I never forgot. You know what I remember from your wedding? What you were talking to some of my crew guys. Laughing, having fun. And every time you looked like you were enjoying yourself, Stephanie came over, interrupted, said you needed to thank someone or take a photo or something. And suddenly I remembered how she'd kept pulling me away, how I thought she was just being a good hostess. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she just didn't like seeing me happy, unless she was the reason. That night, I drove past our old house. Stephanie's car was in the driveway, lights on. I could see her shadow moving behind the curtains. I didn't stop, didn't slow down. I just kept driving. Because I realized something that night, I wasn't just running away from a bad marriage. I was running towards something better. Over the next few months, I did what I should have done years ago. I opened my own bank account, transferred my half of the savings, found a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Coleman. Straightforward, sharp. Didn't flinch once as I told her everything. When I finished, she asked, "Do you have any documentation of the harassment?" I showed her screenshots, blocked numbers, voicemails, messages from her sisters, the fake concern, the manipulation, the lies. She came to your parents' house. Yeah. Told them I was having a breakdown